Hi, and welcome to the New York Virtual Photo Salon presentations. Yay! Hope everyone is well, staying safe and creative during these times. I'm Lavon Hall, the host for this event. I'm so thrilled to present this week's speaker, Jean Miele. He's an amazing photographer, artist, and educator, and will give you a glimpse of his work and wisdom. Please leave us comments, subscribe, and like this channel. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Thanks so much for watching.
I recorded most of the talk you're about to hear in another world, in another time, before George Floyd was murdered by Minneapolis police officers. In thinking about whether this presentation has any relevance any longer in light of recent events, I tentatively offer the following thoughts for your consideration. Albert Einstein wasn't talking about scientific problem solving when he said, "The world we have created is a product of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking." He was talking about the invention of atomic weapons and the rise of military industrial corporate culture. What he said is often paraphrased as, "We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them." This is where we are, yet again, right now. The political and cultural structures that led to the murder of George Floyd and countless other injustices cannot be fixed by the systems that gave rise to them. So, what are we to do? Einstein was inviting us all to see things differently, to see each other and the world differently. And we're beginning to. Those of you who know me know I've always been amazed that in spite of all evidence to the contrary, people doggedly cling to the myth that photography is good at accurately conveying information about what's in front of the camera. Well, faced with new information, I'm changing my opinion. The nearly omniscient visual perspective we have from multiple video viewpoints of recent events, George Floyd's murder, for example, and the demonstrations in New York and Washington, D.C., where citizens were brutalized by those sworn to protect and serve, those are evidence that the camera, cell phone video cameras of all things, the camera is capable of delivering images that speak entirely for themselves. I've always felt that the power of photography was in its ability to interpret the world, but I don't think these images are subject to much interpretation. I'm struggling with my own feelings these past few days. I live pretty close to the Barclays Center, and the sound of helicopters and emergency sirens has pretty much been constant. I wish I had the power to change how we all see things, to help us all see, to remember that we're not only interdependent, but that all is one, and we exist in a state of, as Charles Eisenstein says, interbeing. Until we all wake up and our love for each other rules our culture to the point that justice arises naturally from that love, the question I ask myself is one posed by Benji Wertheimer. How do I respond to violence, hatred, division? Well, his answer is my answer. I make more beauty. I work for what I want to see and what I want to create, not against those things I feel I need to oppose. Of course, I'm also working to change those things I oppose. Here's what I had to say a few days ago. Hello, my friends. My name is Jean Miele. I'm a photographer. My friends call me Gino. I remember back in the 1980s, I used to go to a photo salon in a basement down on Prince Street. It was run by a friend who, like me, later became an instructor at ICP. The salon we all love at SVA, this salon, makes that feel like long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away. These are strange times. I was really looking forward to showing you some photographs and talking with you about my process. I wanted us to have a conversation. Things being what they are, Levon Hall and Bill Westheimer invited me to say a few words here to accompany a slideshow. So thanks for taking the time to look and to listen. It's not the same as being together in the same room, but I'm grateful we can connect this way for now. Maybe some of you, like me, are old enough to remember when the photo district was the center of New York's photographic universe, with dozens, maybe even hundreds of photo studios, and enough E6 labs so you had your choice. As an assistant, years ago, that's the world I came up in. A world of chrome and craftsmanship, a world of strobes and hot lights, large format cameras, and tradition. I mention it because this salon feels like it descends from that world. The people who gather in the auditorium at SVA, people like you, appreciate the work. They appreciate the work the way only one musician can fully appreciate the nuance and subtlety of another musician's performance. We, and only we, know what goes into the creation of a photograph. The thought, the preparation, the technique, the straight up blue collar work, and the risk, and the luck that goes into it. Yeah, I think luck is a big part of any creative endeavor, but I'm talking about the kind of luck that favors the prepared, the kind of luck that shows up when you get down to work. That's what I would have liked to talk to you about had we gotten together in person last week. I would have talked about the process of making photographs, how for me it's part work, part play, part listening for what the picture wants. I would have talked about photography as a language all its own that speaks to a very different part of us than words do. I like that Greg Heisler calls that language the narrative code of light. So rather than present a lecture, I wanted to have a dialogue with you. I guess under these circumstances that won't be possible, but maybe we can do it in our imaginations. Picture this. Before I began to talk, I would have asked you to introduce yourself to someone sitting near you who you didn't know and chat with them for just a minute or two before we turned to my pictures. I would have encouraged you to talk with me while I showed some slides. That salon in Soho that I mentioned before, we used to show slides in carousel projectors. Remembering that makes me smile. I would have liked to talk with you about a lot of things, about the tension, the balance between intention and openness. The balance between intention and openness, knowing what we want and not being sure how we're going to make that picture. I would have talked to you about the relationship between reality and photography and how I think those are two very, very different things. We could have even debated where the line is between enhancement and manipulation. To keep this short, though, I'm simply going to mention those things in passing and trust to your imagination. My photographs, the photographs you're looking at now, and all of my work is highly enhanced. Even when I shot film and did my printing in a wet darkroom, there was significant post-production. I was one of those guys who actually had like 3 dichroic enlargers in my darkroom. I was influenced early on and deeply by Jerry Uelsman and many, many others. So if you're old school, you might think of some of these pictures as photo illustrations. For some people, photoshopped has a bad connotation, fostering an ideal humans can never live up to. Sometimes that's true. That's not my intention, though. I'm interested in seeing the hidden perfection that lies just below the surface of the visible world. And if you don't think there's an invisible world, I'm just going to remind you that visible light, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet that we see, is about 1/10 billionth of the full electromagnetic spectrum. We don't see Wi-Fi, we don't see X-rays, but they're out there. And what we do see is just the tiniest fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what we call the universe. What I'm interested in is exercising my imagination. I'm interested in us all seeing that we have a choice in every moment, a choice about how to see things, a choice about how we experience this life. I believe that how we see things changes them, and how we are seen changes us. Seeing is an act of creation. None of us are passive observers, photographers, those of us who see for a living, least of all. With 7.8 billion people on the planet, I'd argue there are 7.8 billion unique realities, 7.8 billion different ways of seeing how things are. You don't believe me? You think there's only one reality out there? Well, if that's the case, I'm going to suggest that you talk to somebody, talk to anybody who's ever been in a serious relationship and ask them whether they haven't had the experience of two people being in the same place at the same time and seeing two completely different things, having two completely different experiences. Yeah, I'm together with my wife for 25 years, and I'll tell you that I think it happens all the time that two different people are experiencing two different realities. It's actually amazing how well we share our thoughts, share our experiences with each other using language and using photography. So we, all of us, choose in every moment how to see each other and how to see the world. And in those choices, we create reality for ourselves and collectively. By choosing to see the best in things photographically, maybe that calls us to choose to see each other as fundamentally good, to give each other the benefit of the doubt. By choosing to present a world with the rough edges smoothed off, I'm not being unrealistic. I'm making a choice to see this world and us as infinitely beautiful. Some might call that magical thinking. I say we could all use a little magic right now. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for looking at my pictures. If any of this moves you, I'd welcome hearing from you. To get in touch with me, or to see more work, or to find out about the private Photoshop and Lightroom coaching I do, or if you're interested in me doing raw processing for you or retouching your files, any of that, I encourage you to visit my website, jeanmiele.com. My thanks to Levon Hall, to Bill Westheimer, and to everybody who keeps the salon going. It's a real gift to our community, and it's an honor to be asked to present. I look forward to seeing you when we're able to be unmasked together once again. Stay well, be kind, take care of yourself.
Well, I know I enjoyed Jean's presentation, and I hope you did too. If so, please give it a thumbs up, leave comments, and subscribe to see our upcoming artists. Thank you, Jean Gino, the New York Virtual Photo Salon Committee, and everyone else for tuning in. I'm Levon Hall, and we'll see you next time.